welcome, this is part 2 of the power level Marineford section, and hell, it is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be so many heavy hitters, not heavy hitters, monster, prodigies, everything, but the strongest characters among all. Top 1 is shifted, it's gonna be even shifted twice in this very part 2. Who is the strongest Admiral out of all of those 3? Who is the strongest known Yonko? How strong is Blackbeard? Enjoy! Power level section. Gonna go with super quick Knight Doma. Minimum strength of the Knight Doma is actually gonna be half of a Momongas, because he actually blocked Momongas attack when he was, I guess, pursuing Luffy. So he was able to stop it, which gives him that he is at least half of Momongas strength, and that's 5,450. Minimum strength in case of maximum strength, because he is one of the allied pirates, and I know with some of the allied pirates that they were previously defeated, and most of them they was defeated by Whitebeard's crew, not actually Whitebeard himself, which is why I'm gonna give minimum strength again of Vista or Jozu, one of those two, which are Commander 3 and 5, which are the most decent, the ones when the decent commanders are starting. Minimum strength, the same thing as Doma maximum strength, because he must be previously defeated, right? So Doma's maximum strength is gonna get 16,000, and that gives him average strength of 10,727. He is literally stronger than Rob Lucci. How crazy that is. Next we're gonna go to the Warlords itself, Doflamingo. Yes, he had a strength already justified minimum strength of 11,220. However, now in Marineford he proves more worthy. He was taking Jozu kind of off guard, paralyzed him, and to such a degree that he was casually talking with Crocodile, and Jozu couldn't do nothing. So I don't know if this actually needs some prep. I do not know what kind of ability it is. He didn't defeat Jozu, which is why I'm not gonna give that Doflamingo is at least twice stronger than Jozu, because he didn't defeat, and if he will defeat, because he's restrained, so if he will give him some decisive final blow, that's gonna be 2 attacks. Minimum strength is gonna be the maximum strength of Jozu still, because Jozu was totally useless after that attack. He wasn't beaten, but totally useless, so he couldn't fight back. Meaning his minimum strength is 26,508, and please let me know in a comment, would we should put that he cannot beat Jozu with one punch, or Doflamingo maybe was playing around? If yes, don't spoil me obviously, just let me know in a comment, is he even capable of that? Because I am not sure, I didn't see, I do not know anything about Doflamingo apart of that scene, which is why I'm gonna give it only minimum strength. I'm counting on you here. If you like this content, give me a like, subscribe, hit the bell, and let me in a comment know, what about Jozu? Is Doflamingo twice stronger? Your opinion next! Now is the time to reveal the other 2 Admirals power levels, right? Let's go, starting from the big one, Akainu. With Akainu it's fairly easy actually to state his minimum strength, because he was dealing with so many characters and he was beating down so many of them actually. Jinbei and Ace, both of them are actually justified characters, and he took both of them, I would say, one punch. With the asterisk here that actually this attacks what he was using to Ace, this magma attack, wasn't serious like, because we know when he was fighting Whitebeard he was actually using a name attack. Here, this is not named attack. With Ace, it was just a clash of fists. Ace kind of lose that, but he wasn't defeated, and then obviously we know what happened to Ace. Meaning Akainu need 2 attacks to win. However, this attack wasn't his serious attack, and this is the asterisk here, which is why if I will forget that was his not serious attack, and I will forget that was the 2 attacks, so if Akainu uses a serious attack on Ace, either Ace or Jinbei, he will win with a 1 punch. I'm pretty certain of it. The stronger of them is Ace, barely but stronger, so I'm gonna take Ace strength that Sakazuki can beat Ace with a one punch period. He is at least 37,762 strong, minimum strength. In case of maximum strength for Akainu, it's a tricky one. So obviously we go into his fight with the strongest opponent what he possibly could have, Whitebeard. When Whitebeard were pissed off because of Ace, he totally trashed him. However, he trashed him to the point that Akainu lose the fight, yes. He falls somewhere, yes. The thing is why I'm saying he lost the fight is because he doesn't come back and continue fighting. He simply accepts his defeat, that even though he was alive and he could survive easily, he accepts defeat, which is why Whitebeard won. Now I just need to justify is maximum strength of Akainu will be minimum, average or maximum strength of Whitebeard. And this point is strongly connected how much wounded was Whitebeard after the fight, and we saw serious attack there with Akainu burning his stomach. To the point that I would say that Whitebeard was more hurt during that fight than Akainu. Simple as. That's what I'm seeing in this brawl. So I'm gonna put maximum strength of Akainu as maximum strength of Whitebeard because they are super equal. Even though Whitebeard won, he received the most wounds. So maximum strength of Akainu is gonna be 117,810, and that gives Akainu 77,786 strong, and that's crazy because that's more than Whitebeard, but also more than Mihawk. But that's not finished, we have another Admiral card. Next one is Kizaru, yes, that's on the second Admiral, and this Admiral is a tricky one. So I think the best occasion to gouge his minimum strength is when Ace was still on the execution platform and Kizaru wanted to intervene, and then Blackbeard stopped him simply by attacking him. And yeah, Kizaru wasn't happy about it. However, even though Kizaru was distracted and he was attacked by Whitebeard, he was all right. Meaning Whitebeard's attack cannot beat him with one punch. His minimum strength is gonna be at least half of Whitebeard's. It's gonna be 35,343 minimum strength. And in case of his maximum strength, this is the one which is the most tricky actually, because we're gonna go to the other moment, of course him and Whitebeard again, when this time Whitebeard got distracted and Kizaru was taking advantage. And he pierced through his arm even with his laser. However, Whitebeard didn't really felt it. Yes, Whitebeard got stopped, but that's about it. So on one occasion we could easily say that Kizaru cannot beat Whitebeard with one punch. Yes, easy. However, that will be a very wide range. So instead I simply combine Kizaru's attack while Whitebeard were distracted and Akainu's attack while Whitebeard were distracted. How? Because we actually got those two situations ready. Kizaru used his laser to pierce through kind of his arm, but Whitebeard was kind of okay. However, when Akainu attacked, that was a significant blow to the point that it even threatened his life. So simply based off those two attacks, I have to say that Kizaru's attack were weaker. And simply because Kizaru's attack were weaker, we can gouge Kizaru's strength, right? So I'm gonna put maximum strength for Kizaru as average strength of Akainu, because this clearly see when they both had an opportunity, Akainu succeed way better. So maximum strength for Kizaru is gonna be 77,786, and that gives him average strength for the second Admiral in the Navy as 56,565. And I am pretty happy with that range. Case closed. Next, I'm gonna go to the vice captain, we can call him, right? I'm not so sure. Marco. He is the second strongest, first strongest after the Whitebird in his crew. And this is clearly telling because his minimum strength is overwhelming. First, Kizaru was attacking Whitebird. He clearly, easily, in fact, stopped the attack, and that was lame attack, that was serious attack. That's at least Kizaru's, half of Kizaru minimum strength. However, later on when Luffy was actually unconscious and Akainu was pursuing, and we can see Marco again saving Luffy from Akainu's attack, and Marco actually slightly struggling. So what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna say that Marco's minimum strength is gonna be actually half of the Akainu's strength because he withstand the attack. And in case of maximum strength of Marco is way more complicated again. You see, that's why I stopped and I divided this whole power level section into two parts, because these characters are, some of them are really hard to justify. So maximum strength of Marco, we're gonna go to the one and only moment when he was attacking actually Akainu with the assistance of Vista. They both attack at the same time Akainu, so meaning that both of them couldn't defeat Akainu. That's first of all, so both of their maximum strength shouldn't be higher than Akainu, and he recovered instantly, meaning this attack means almost nothing to him. I'm gonna say that both of those attacks combined are not stronger than average strength of Akainu, not his not the double the amount as it's from the rule. So how I'm gonna justify, because Vista is already justified, so I'm gonna take Akainu's average strength and I'm gonna subscribe. Yes, I'm gonna subscribe. So this is the very good moment for you to help me and then subscribe the channel, give me a like, because it's crazy that I even said that unconsciously, so it's a perfect moment. So I'm gonna subtract Vista maximum strength out of average Akainu, and that's gonna be maximum strength for Marco. You see how the gap is already building up, because it's not only max Marco to average Akainu, but also subtracting the Vista. But this is how it has to be done, because Marco combined with Vista did nothing, and that was combined attack heavy thing, right? So turns out minimum strength for Marco 38,893, which is half of Akainu as discussed, and maximum strength for Marco, it's gonna be 56,532 as this equation ends up. So that gives Marco's average strength as 47,712, and that's dead so accurate. Case closed. And of course, you're probably wondering how much the Fleet Admiral Sengoku actually ended up in case of the Admiral's strength. Is he above the Admirals? Is he below the Admirals? Let's find out. So with the Fleet Admiral, we don't having much content sadly in anime, we just only have him and Luffy. So his minimum and maximum will be solely based on Luffy, which is good, it's gonna be accurate. Might be a little bit wide, but it's not a big deal for this type of character, because Luffy is not a small character either. So his minimum strength is when he was transforming to his Buddha form, he was attacking Gear 3 Luffy, because Luffy were defending Ace and technically Mr. 3. So he got hit by this Buddha attack, he basically, transformed back to his base, or even weakened base, because the smaller version, meaning Gear 3 lost. So I'm gonna put minimum strength for Fleet Admiral Sengoku as twice as Gear 3 Luffy. Gear 3 Luffy is 10,000, minimum strength for Sengoku 20,000 easy. And in case of his maximum strength, now it's a little bit tricky, because this was a one-punch win, yes. However, we need to dive deeper. Is that was actually a serious attack or not? For Sengoku, I'm gonna say this is actually not his serious form. Yes, he got a clash with Blackbeard there. He was using some kind of a shockwave. I will say that shockwave of Sengoku later on with Blackbeard is actually a serious attack, while with Luffy doesn't. In case of maximum strength, this is not serious attack, and if he would continue, if he will put an avalanche of such an attack on Gear 3 Luffy, Luffy when we saw One Punch was actually turn him down into his weakened form, if he would continue those attacks and let's say he connects, or simply even if it takes time, he clearly winning with Luffy, right? Okay, this is not One Punch, but it doesn't matter because we're having a rule that he can win with a character not fighting seriously, even though if it's One Punch or not. This is a not way. And yeah, that means he is at most 10 times stronger than Gear 3 Luffy, and I'm really happy with that because that gives maximum strength of Fleet Admiral Sengoku as 100,000 strong, and that gives average strength of 60,000. Hell yeah! More than Kizaru, you probably noticed already, yeah? Holy shit, that's a Fleet Admiral, so not only the Admirals there were the heavy hitters. Case closed. So we get 2 remaining characters so far, so I don't want to disappoint, so I'm gonna be big here. I'm gonna go with a Blackbeard with 2 Devil Fruits at Marineford. Hell yeah! Minimum strength of Blackbeard's gonna be, surprise surprise, half of Sengoku, which is 30,000 strength because he survived the shockwave. Simple as 30,000 Blackbeard. In case of his maximum strength, he countered the shockwave with his new acquired Devil Fruit, and yet he said that he is so powerful expected on Sengoku. So I would assume that because he didn't master yet his Devil Fruit, his maximum strength for now is at literally Sengoku level because he countered the attack. I don't want to say that he cannot beat Sengoku with One Punch because he clearly was on the weaker side in that battle. So I do believe Sengoku will got this if they will fight 1v1, and even in anime there was the other guy who was helping up, apparently a filler. Don't know. Also, an asterisk here, Blackbeard mentioned that he is inexperienced, and this is obvious because he just acquired that second Devil Fruit. So obviously in a future arc, or maybe after 2 arcs, if Blackbeard gonna be there, obviously he's gonna be stronger. So his maximum strength is only for this current period in Marineford. Minimum strength remaining the same, don't make me wrong, for the future on, but maximum is only for the inexperienced Blackbeard. So in the future, if I'm gonna justify Blackbeard's strength again, let's say after an arc, I'm gonna make another Blackbeard position because this is inexperienced Whitebeard Devil Fruit Blackbeard, if you know what I mean. So that kind of Blackbeard is getting strength of 45,000 strong, and that's case closed. And the last character to elevate this part 2, I'm gonna go big time. I'm gonna go, ladies and gents, for the first time, second Yonko Shanks. Yes! Why not? So his minimum strength starting big, he literally, when Kobe was screaming, yapping, blah blah blah, he stopped Akainu there, easy. And that was the same level of attack who beat Ace, who beat Jinbei, to push Marco. So I'm gonna say that Shanks is at least half of Akainu's strength because the way how Shanks stopped it was so easy. So minimum strength of Shanks is gonna be half of Akainu's. And in case of his maximum strength, yes, maximum strength, we're gonna go out of Marineford. Surprisingly, we're gonna go to one of the his encounter with none other than Whitebeard in the past, because they had a clash. And I'm gonna go extremely safe here because obviously we didn't see nothing apart of the split sky, isn't it? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say that Shanks cannot beat old Whitebeard, full health, technically sick and old, with one punch. That's it. That's what I'm gonna say because it is highly unlikely. Maybe obviously later on in the future I'm gonna adjust it further, but he is on the same level of Whitebeard, so he's supposed to get some kind of crazy level, crazy strong. So without further ado, let me introduce you maximum strength of Shanks. It's gonna be the highest in the power level series so far. It's gonna be 141,810, which gives average strength of Shanks 90,150. 33. So let me know in the comment what do you think about that, Shanks. Probably it's gonna be a plenty of correction for Shanks because it's the first estimate. Obviously, whenever we're gonna see more of Shanks fighting, we're gonna narrow down the range big time. The same happening with the other characters. Mihawk awaiting this still because he didn't show us much. Yeah, so that's what we got. So let's see the rankings because it's gonna be big. So we are in a ranking. We're starting from the remaining 8 from Knight Doma himself. He is in a position 26, surprisingly. Again, stronger than Lucci. I don't know if I said that, but I definitely said that on a poster. Write it down in a poster. Hell yeah, he is above Vice Admirals, actually. I mean, it will probably the same amount of strong. There is a Momonga just above him and Dalmatian just below him. If you want to compare some kind of proper pirate, just below Crocodile above. Or with Luffy Shadow, or simply Luffy Guild 3. So it's literally supernova level, right? Next character, let me going up. It's already position 11, Donquixote Doflamingo. I've learned it a little bit how to pronounce it. He is minimum strength because he isn't justified strength. I still not sure. Maybe he is. I supposed to put maximum strength as double Jozu, because that is really what vibes I'm actually getting. If we're comparing minimum strength, I have to literally compare minimum strength, not the average. So everybody below him from position 12 below do not have such a minimum strength, obviously. So he is leagues above them. And if gonna go for position number 10, he technically higher, so we can kind of expect that he is Warden Magellan level. The position 9 and 8 is actually characters from already today's part 2, which is Blackbeard with 2 Devil Fruits position 9 and Marco position 8, equally matched in here. Actually, I'm seeing in case of Doflamingo, do he have a shot against them? Probably no. I do not believe that Doflamingo can jump as high as Marco or Blackbeard with 2 Devil Fruit level. What else I would say about Blackbeard? He was the second main villain in the Marineford saga, and this clearly shows, because if we go higher, let's leave Blackbeard at the bottom for now in this list. You can clearly see that above him is Marco, Aokiji, Kizaru. Then we get in Fleet Admiral Sengoku, which he fought with, and Mihawk here, and even above them I can say that it is old Whitebeard. All of those characters are way stronger than Blackbeard here. The only position when Blackbeard actually could fight on equal footing is Marco, possibly surpassing him shortly. But then we having admirals already from the Marines. Yeah, if one of the admirals, anyone would actually be here, that would be crazy for him, and he will be, yeah, Shanks' appearance literally save his ass. Top 7 is the strongest characters. Is a big gap there between 8 and 9, and even bigger from 10th position. So yeah, the first group of 7 is clearly the strongest. Still, I'm thinking Shanks having a pretty big league amongst all of them, having 13,000 stronger, more than Akainu, and over 20,000 from Whitebeard and so on. So that's a massive advantage. I think Shanks will be a menace here. So in case of some of the questions of mine or in a comment, is actually old Whitebeard capable of stalling or taking 2 Marine Admirals at the same time? Is clear answer no, because in that case we need to not multiply, we need to add those average strikes. And if we take two weakest, it's 3 admirals, but if we're gonna skip the strongest Admiral Akainu and we're gonna take Kizaru and Aokiji, their both combined strength is 109,000. Basically, they both together can fight on equal footing with even Shanks. So yeah, if Whitebeard would be still alive and Shanks would join, yes, their total strength will be like 160,000. So that's equally to the 3 admirals. I see nobody actually, surprisingly, out of all of them, Marco having the highest minimum strength of 38,000, actually the same as Shanks. Nobody getting 40,000 minimum strength yet, which is clearly shown that they cannot really one-punch characters with a 20,000 strength. strong. And if we're gonna scroll down, actually, because I'm curious now what characters that would be. So 20,000 strong is actually Enel or Diamond to Jozu. So who's gonna one punch Diamond to Jozu? They are so evenly matched. Look, between Akainu and Whitebird is actually 7,000. Between Whitebird and Mihawk is 2,000. Between Mihawk and Sengoku is 8,000. None of the characters having more than 10,000 gap except of Shanks. If we're gonna take the strongest Shanks and he's gonna fight the weakest of the 7, which is gonna be Aokishi, that's not gonna be easy fight for Shanks either. So now the question is, do Marines actually needed so much force to stop Whitebird? Let me know in the comment if they actually needed all of those 7 warlords to stop Akainu, to stop Whitebird and his crew.